What's up, riders? I know, I'm not in class with you right now. I'm just on YouTube. And I decided that I needed to make a video for you, even though it's kind of late at night, because I'm not going to be here the rest of the week. What I really want to make sure that we do well, even without me there, is set up a counterclaim and rebuttal. In our situation, we're probably not having someone argue against us, but it's an important skill to learn. Let's check it out. Class, we're going to take a look at my example using the essay we've talked about this whole time, Raymond's Run, and our main character, the protagonist, Squeaky. Here's the first thing that I want you to know when it comes to writing a counterclaim and rebuttal. We need to lead in from a previous paragraph. And our counterclaim and rebuttal should relate to the previous paragraph. We're going to have the counterclaim argue the exact opposite of what the previous claim and reason was. And the reason for that is, really, our counterclaim and reason for us is a thesis statement, and so they're making the opposite thesis statement against us. In this case, you're making it against yourself, which kind of gives you an advantage, doesn't it? You know what the other side's arguing because it's you. You're arguing against yourself. Just, don't get crazy arguing with yourself. You don't need to talk to yourself. I do that enough as it is, right? Yeah. You don't need to answer that. That's fine. Whatever. Anyways, we're going to look at this first example of the paragraph that comes before, just the beginning of it, so you can see how those two relate. So, right here, we have our other writing, the paragraph that comes before what we're about to write today. It says, Squeaky is a good role model because she is protective. One day, Squeaky and Raymond are on a walk down Broadway. That sounds like my storytelling evidence that I'm introducing here. Now, that first sentence had my claim and reason. The claim is that she's a good role model. Not exactly the claim that I had previously, but this will work. And then we say she's a good role model because she's protective. Interesting. So, role models, I'm saying, are people that should be willing to protect others. Now, in this case, in this next paragraph you're going to see, you'll see my counterclaim. It should counter or oppose what I am actually claiming in that paragraph we just saw. So I say, while some people may disagree. What a great transition phrase. That's how you should start too. Let's continue. While some people may agree with the idea of Squeaky being a role model, they would be wrong. Okay, we're going to pause. Let's think, how could we do this for ourselves? Honestly, you could just Mad Libs in just that little section. You could say, while some people may disagree with the idea, insert your claim, they would be wrong. That's easy. You already know what your claim is, so just throw it in there. Next sentence. They might say, love that transition. It's like an inner paragraph transition. I'm going from me saying, some people are going to disagree, and now I'm going to say how they would disagree. They might say Squeaky is not a role model. That's opposite of what I said. That's a counter claim. Yes. They might say Squeaky is not a role model because she actually hurts other people. Okay. Interesting. So if I was thinking about some of your stories, whether it's you're saying that someone's a good brother or tries to be, or whether someone is soft-hearted or someone struggles to know what their role is in their family, you need to argue the opposite of that. Like, for example, if they don't know their role, you're going to need to argue that they really do and why you think they do. or at least why someone else might think. The key is what you're going to see next. I'm going to introduce now an example that someone might use against me. Now, here's the key. They say she actually hurts people, so I need to find evidence that shows she hurts people. That's easy. But the trick is, how will you flip the script on them? So let's read the evidence now. For example, shortly after the previous scene, we see Squeaky finishing the exchange by threatening to hurt others and calling them names. That's right, fatso. And the next word out of anybody, and I'll be their mother too. Some would see this as Squeaky being needlessly rude and mean. Things role models wouldn't be. Okay, so I have evidence. I even have analysis. When I say some would see this as, that's my analysis transition. Use it. Just like hopefully use my for example transition into the evidence. But here's the key part, the part that's in green. This is the rebuttal. Notice at the top how I have the counterclaim in yellow and the rebuttal in green. This is the whole point of why we're doing this. We've lured them in and tricked them. We've said, oh, I bet you think this. Ha ha ha, not so fast. Here's why you're wrong. However, that's the transition word you should use. However, this really shows that Squeaky will do anything to protect those she cares for. A good role model protects the weakest. In this situation, Squeaky is protecting the weakest from the strongest people, Rosie, Gretchen, and Mary Louise. Do you see what I did there? I allowed them to set up, or rather, I set up an opposing argument, a counterclaim. I made a claim for them, I followed it with evidence, and one sentence of analysis. But then I wasn't done. I have to undo all of what I just did. So it's important that when you choose your evidence, you are thinking, how am I going to show that they're wrong? How am I going to use the same piece of evidence to support my opinion? That's what really makes a strong rebuttal. Zing, that counterclaim. Okay, writers. Until I see you next time, happy writing.